and welcome to Game 2 of Kutztown University versus, don't remember their full name, FDU. I'll call them FDU for now, and I'll look that up real quick. My name is Justin, or Small Flareon. I'll be doing play-by-play casting.
Yep, and I am Jacob Basket Knife Simcoe, and it is Fairleigh, I think, Fairleigh Dickinson University. I'm probably announcing that wrong. You guys can correct me in the comments section on this Twitch stream, but we are in it, banning out two bands already. They're saying no to the Galio. FDU does not want to deal with that pick again.
Yeah, on the side of the Fairleigh Dickinson Knights, they did get decimated pretty hard by a Galio, full AP Galio mid lane last game. The Skarner ban's going to be the second one, and Vladimir ban for the last. On the other side, Warwick, Zoe, and Kane taken away. Warwick and Kane both banned away from the side of Fairleigh Dickinson last game as well, so I have to assume that's some sort of comfort pick for King Awesome in the jungle. And Zoe, I think, needs no explanation if you've paid any attention to League at all over the last couple weeks. She is an absolutely overtuned champion right now, and it's really risky to give that to any sort of opponent.
And it looks like FDU has chosen the Alistar. They were hovering it last game, decided to go with the Taric, and it looks like we do have the Lovers bot lane over on the side of Kutztown University, the Zyracon, one of my favorite lanes to play in when I'm playing in solo queue on both support and AD carry. Excited to see this here.
Yeah, Zaya and Rakan, the duo that can do it all. Rakan, both an excellent engager and also fairly great at keeping his AD carry alive, especially when paired with Zaya, the extra range on the battle dance, allowing him to get in range to keep his AD carry, and I suppose the rest of his team safe. J4 is going to be King Awesome's choice once more, as we saw this last game coming out from King Awesome. It didn't go so well for him, unfortunately. Elected for a full damage build and ended up really doing not much at all, as he was just too squishy to continue these team fights. And Z-Flare once again also electing for the Tristana. So two similar picks for FDU so far. The only change being that Alistair going for something perhaps a little bit more aggressive than the Taric.
Yeah, it looks like the Alistar will likely be a better pick. They are sticking with the Jarvan and the Tristana and the Zac as well for the side of KU. So I want to see if King Awesome is going to make some adjustments to either his build path or his runes to see if we can get him into a more tanky position, or if he's going to try to be that carry.
Yeah, the jungle matchup's going to be exactly the same. And Karma actually banned away from Fairleigh Dickinson. A little bit strange, knowing that Alistair's already the lock-in for support. Probably. You know, I'm 99.9% sure, and I'll eat a sock if Alistair decides not to go support. But I think Karma, having not seen her in any other lanes lately, I think it's a little bit of a strange choice. Perhaps they know something about Tedward that I don't, as Tedward went for a very polar opposite pick in the last game and did quite well on the cast, and he was very far ahead at one point, but unable to really finish things out for his team, unfortunately. Scion's going to be banned away from Kutztown University as well. I wouldn't say really it was a problem for FDU to deal with as much as just, you know, another piece in the puzzle that sealed their demise.
Yeah, it looks like they're also going to finish off with the Azir and Gans targeting that top and possibly mid lane, it seems like, from both sides. I'm guessing that they would assume that the Karma would have been going mid, and let's see if they go with the top lane or if they prioritize that mid lane pick.
Ooh. Aurelion Sol almost not instantly locked in, but locked in, I'd say, with quite confidence for Kind King. And he did have quite standout performance last time, and Aurelion Sol is such a hit or miss champion, I feel like, in this meta. You know, if he can pop up, then perhaps we can see some Hu-He-like performance from the old days. But lately, not terribly convinced. Echo is going to be the hover. Speaking of champions that haven't been doing super well lately, I think Echo's still got that potential. He's super slippery, and that has never changed despite the constant nerfs that this champion has received over the last couple months. But we'll have to see if he has the damage to back it up and the game impact that FDU needs in order to pull back a 1-1 in this match.
And they're finishing off with likely that Camille pick for top lane, a very high impact top lane. And Dr. Hudson had played this a lot in solo queue recently, so it looks like this will likely be a comfort pick for him. and we'll see what they can get as that counter pick for the top lane. They've allowed it to be that final pick. Will it be a Maokai? Will it be maybe the Gnar? We'll see what comes up.
Yeah, I really like Camille as a pick in the meta these days. I think she's just really she is one of the last bruisers that is viable in today's meta, but she does have some very poor matchups. As far as Gnar goes, I think it's even more of like a skill matchup. She has the tools in order to reach a Gnar, but go in if that rage bar is too high or miss the stun on her hookshot completely, and that matchup can turn around quite quickly on top of the Camille. We'll have to see how that matchup goes. Like last game, it was very, very even as far as both players were concerned. I think Sion had quite a bit of a farm lead, but when it came down to practice, didn't really change much at all. And we saw very extended slap fights go on in top lane all the time. I think there was one fight that lasted like a good 20 or 30 seconds and almost neither of them dying. This game's going to be a much different picture. Gnar versus Camille, hopefully a much more explosive matchup. And with the likes of Jarvan and Zach, maybe putting more pressure towards top side now that we have someone like a Camille that you'd want to get ahead. Definitely more exciting premise than Axeman and his tree.
Absolutely. And then the Tristana Alistar bot lane versus Zion Rakan. If Rakan does try to jump in with his grand entrance, Alistar can use his combination of his headbutt pulverize, if he times it perfectly, and Tristana could get some of that extra damage off, but the advantage of running the Zion with Rakan is that you do have the extended range on his E to be able to jump back to his lover to get out of those fights. So I'm agreeing with you. There's definitely a lot of tension that's likely going to be thrown around in that top lane, but also perhaps on the side of FDU, they're going to want to focus that mid. Aurelion Sol is not the most mobile champion in the world, and against the likes of a Jarvan, Echo, and maybe if they can get the Alistar roaming, that's a lot of CC and a lot of damage they can put out onto that Aurelion Sol.
Super duper easy gank target, and I think even for someone like Camille, if she so desires, can make her way down very easily. As a bruiser, she's got possibly the best roaming tools in that class. Hookshot just catapults her like a good 1200 range if she's targeting a champion, and if Aurelion Sol's not careful, he's gonna have to put down a lot of side vision. If he's not the one doing the roaming, he's gonna be the one that's going to be roamed on for sure.
And we do have the exhaust on the Aurelion Sol, ignite on the Echo. Curious to see if either of these two are taking Unsealed Spellbook. I would guess that maybe they would. Both of them do have a great advantage they can get from the teleport, or for Aurelion Sol also the ghost as well. So we'll see what happens. About a minute 15 coming into this game. Let's go with some gut predictions right now. Who is going to win, Justin? Are we going to take it to game 3, or is Kutztown University going to close this one out for the night?
I'm looking at Kutztown's team comp, and they just have less damage. I think like Aurelion Sol, he used to be a stronger champion, and it takes him a really, really, really long time to come online as far as the items that he needs to deal in a appreciable amount of damage, and before he inevitably perishes, because he has to be so much closer to the fight than other control mages do. And on the other side, the longer you wait for this game to go on, the longer that Tristana is going to have to build up that potential. And we saw Z-Flare had a decent game. He's a good AD carry. He put down plenty of damage. Put out the most damage on his team that entire fight, and also out damage his lane opponent. And set up differently, it could also mean a victory condition for FDU. And I think it's going to depend again a lot on the engage that Kutztown University puts out.
I absolutely agree. And everyone who's watching that chat, go ahead, let us know who you think is going to take this game, either using that KU or that FDU in the chat. Looking forward to seeing those. And we are getting ready to get into that game. Our delay is coming on, so let's get to it.
Man, if only we had Twitter hashtags set up, we could get some hashtag FDU versus Kutztown University's hashtags going up, spike it up, to the 10 or 20 people that we have watching tonight, or not. It's no NALCS, but we've got something cool, a clash about to go down on Summoner's Rift.
Absolutely. And hey, everyone that is tuning in, regardless of the numbers, we appreciate you guys for coming on out, supporting your school, supporting your team, supporting your friends. And we definitely appreciate being able to be here, having some fun. Make sure you follow the official ACL Twitter page. Follow us on our Twitch as well. And we are getting ourselves right into this game now. See what we can do. FDU versus TU versus KU, not TU, KU. Game 2. Let's see what we got coming in here.
Here we go. As soon as the game loads in, there it is. The light has been turned on. Let there be light. And let there be the FDU Knights versus the Kutztown University Golden Bears. Still clamoring to climb out of the shell that surrounds their spawn location. 15 seconds, there it is. Going barreling down, spreading out quite heavily, actually. This is Kutztown University fanning out. No, never mind. They're sticking towards there's a ping going down onto that singular bush. And we saw this last game as well. They clumped up quite heavily and immediately invaded the enemy jungle to try to get some vision. Z-Flare's the only one that's going to be found matching them in this case, which could be trouble. There's the support, so she has some backup.
They did drop that lone ward in there, but it looks like probably will amount to nothing, but they are playing a fairly defensive spread right now, with the exception of having ACEL Mist, that Gnar down here in the jungle. They might be trying to cheese something late as a late invade, but we're going to see what happens here. Really thinking about here, it's going to be pivotal around that mid and top lane. I feel these bot lanes can probably play pretty passive against each other and not get too much off, but I think the mid and top lane are going to be the critical, and that's going to come down to Demon Jester and King Awesome and what they can do.
So King Awesome is going to elect for a topside start and a top lane leash once again. And I think ICO Lice Hiker and Demon Jester are going for a more traditional bot lane leash. It's going to set up Zach. I think if last game's anything to show, or anything to indicate, Zach's going to be a lot healthier progressing through his jungle as this game continues. But this time, Kutztown University operating with a lot less knowledge than they had of last game, although they could probably make a pretty easy guess with how late Hotson's getting a lane. Yeah, their jungler stuttered up topside with the blue buff.
And we do have Demon Jester going for the Gromp versus King Awesome going for those wolves and likely heading over to that red buff. They did put a defensive ward on their red just to make sure that King Awesome did not go in for that invader. At least if they did, they could have the collapse from the Kind King and ACEL Mist in that top lane.
And just real quick, talking about the unsealed spellbooks, or lack thereof, rather, Tedward actually elected to go for Execute. It synergizes very well with his Z-Drive Resonance passive on his W. You saw he went aggressive right there, wasn't able to win that trade, took a few comments to the face on the way out. And speaking of comments, Kind King electing for the Arcane Comet instead of any unsealed spellbook shenanigans. It means he's going to have to rely on his abilities in order to do any sort of roaming rather than any sort of teleport plays. But speaking of roaming, or rather ganks, here's Tedward, might have to die early on. First blood picked up by the Aurelion Soul.
Yeah, taken right away, utilizing that full effect, utilizing that exhaust plus phase rush plus the elastic slingshot from Zach. Unfortunately, Tedwardle utilizing his phase, his phase rush, I believe it is called. I forget that name of the ability at the moment. Jumping in too early and overestimating what he could do mobility-wise. First blood goes over to Kutztown University.
Yep, that would be phase dive. You were close.
Phase dive. Phase rush is actually what Kind King has as his passive, but Gnar's flash has been blown.
Yeah, Dr. Hotson with some picture-perfect Camille technique gets the stun and the empowered Q, chunking out ACEL Mist quite heavily, and that, as a result, he has to flash away once King Awesome showed up.
You know, it does make you wonder, with Camille having those scissor legs, those knife legs, if they're ever going to make like a MD skin or a surgical skin for her, kind of like that surgeon shed.
Maybe, dude. The MD skin's pretty old. It's pretty legacy at this point. Oh, almost predicting the hop. Dr. Hosen not able to land the stun, lands the kill instead. I think he'll take that any day.
Absolutely. The Arcane Comet coming on into effect to help clean things up. Back into a little bit of a brawl at this mid lane, but the Aurelion Soul does have that Dark Seal as well as those boots to give him a little bit of AP and movement speed to avoid the damage from Tedwardle.
Yeah, speaking about the Arcane Comet, just a little bit of a note of why Camille is still playable despite all of the other bruisers not quite so. It's that it's really hard to miss the Arcane Comet. Speaking of miss, neither support's going to miss the engage onto the enemy AD carry, which prompts King Awesome to come in though. Ice Cloud already had the flash away, has the explosive charge. It's going to take her down to about third, but a quite successful gank as King Awesome was able to blow the flash.
Yep, definitely taking advantage of the crowd control there, and also KU not utilizing that vision effectively, not having any wards down on that bot side. He needed a Tribush or River to be able to see that coming.
And just to finish off my thought from before, Camille cannot miss the Arcane Comet. She either lands a slow from her tactical sweep, her W, and the Comet lands as a result, or she gets the stun on her hookshot. And thus it's really, really hard for Camille to have to waste the potential of the Arcane Comet. And that little damage, even if it's a little bit of it, it adds up throughout the phase of a laning phase. And you saw it right there.
Absolutely, you see it right there. However, the Gnar is looking to go mega with that rage bar increasing. Back down to the spot lane, but just getting some farm up. Fairly even across the board in terms of farm. The only discrepancy being in that jungle and mid lane advantage on the side of Kutztown University. Another thing to hit on here, Zach did finish off the Tracker's Knife, so he will have that extra warding and that extra bit of damage to monsters, while the Jarvan elected to go for the a little bit of the fire there building up into. Looks like he's going to go for the Cinderhulk jungle item that game, most likely, which will be good. A lot more defensive building here, focusing on the damage you can get out of the Echo, Camille, and Tristana this game. I think that's a great shift from last game.
Yeah, they need the tankiness now that they don't have a Maokai in the top lane. And even then, if you're able to put down the Cataclysm, it's a good setup for something like a parallel convergence from Echo. But Axel trades very well onto Hudson, gets the last hyper proc and the airy hit as well. A huge trade, and he goes mega as well to recover some HP from that. Still staying quite even in CS despite losing that first kill. I think he's still feeling pretty good about this matchup.
Oh, absolutely. Regardless of giving up that flood, Gnar is Gnar, and Gnar is always really annoying in lane once you get those hyper procs in combination with that airy.
Speaking of which, this ward prompts Hosen to jump in. The hop completely fails. Aximus is down to a sliver. Tactical sweep does physical damage. Chops right through that shield that Gnar had and takes him down for the kill. Meanwhile, Tedwards gets a solid chunk of the Kind King and no response this time on his way out.
Yep, baiting him in with that control ward and utilizing the second half of that hook shot to get over, land that stun, and then hit the rest of the damage. Gnar had exhausted his mega form, so he was not going to be able to get back in there regardless of that fight.
Ooh, here comes the Zac onto Wakafu, forces the flash out immediately. The quickness was also burned from Tyker. There's the battle dance to try to push him away. Teleport actually canceled from Camille, but thankfully already enough to force off Kutztown University from any more aggression.
Yep, they do blow the flash of the Alistar. That is critical to a lot of its engages, especially against slippery opponents like Zion Rakan, so that's a great trade. And they got the Camille teleport out, so 2 summoners for none. Definitely worth on the side of KU.
Yeah, and I misspoke. There was no quickness because he wasn't 6. He is 6 now, though. Wasn't able to land the Grand Entrance. Probably would have seen it come out there, though.
If the quickness is available, and Tristana and Alistar, neither of them are 6, so you've got a very, very deadly combination with the Zion Rakan level 6. However, Jarvan is making his way down bottom lane, killing out the Krugs, and we might see him come down to try to make another visit here. There are no wards on the side of KU in that bot lane.
And so now looking at this, Jarvan's still sitting at a 0-0. We were talking earlier about where he might end up. Now that this game has come underway, where do you think Jarvan's going to make his first moves?
I'd say Jarvan's going to probably make his first moves more towards that top lane, given that Camille is already up 2-0. You want to press where it hurts, and right now it's been hurting for that Gnar up in top lane. However, Aurelion Sol is making his way up there first, but the jukes from Camille dodging out with that hook shot, both the Aurelion Sol stun and the Gnar.
Yeah, the Comet of Legend, unfortunately, trajectory just not meant to be. Stars did not align right there. It's also just super hard to pick up a kill on a Camille, especially one who has her hookshot ready to escape. I think with any engage with that Gnar coming in, if he's assigned to go well, and you have to be a little bit suspicious. Like, he's got buddies coming up from somewhere.
Oh, absolutely. However, Gnar does still claim the CS advantage there, so even though he's down, they're both fairly close on gold. Camille does have the advantage, though, of having those Ninja Tabi to reduce a lot of that physical damage and auto attack damage.
Yeah, he didn't land the stun. That trade would have gone a little bit more differently, but the massive shield from the adaptive defenses, and then just a little bit of a heal, as if trading against Camille wasn't any harder. Demon Gestures, though, is going to make this trade a 2 versus 1. Gets the slow onto 1, but ACEL Mist is still chasing. Rage Bar is pretty far up there. Did juke the boomerang, but it's not enough to keep them from dodging the auto attacks, and just walks away from the wallop. Good gank avoidance by Dr. Hodson. Well played and
Dr. Hodson
done.
Living life on the edge there, and meanwhile FDU is responding by getting that Infernal Drake for free. Oh, and Dr. Hodson able to slip away from that. Excellent Camille play there, drawing to top lane, and FDU is able to secure that first Infernal Drake.
It's just too hard to do. Like, who do you gank at this point? You can't gank the Camille at top lane because she has a 1200 range escape. Echo's got phase dive as well in order to get himself out of any sticky situations. He also has the Chrono Break, so it's going to be really hard to kill him. And Zach, despite getting that 1 assist early, found absolutely no success, instead giving up the Dragon for spending so much time top.
Yep, and looks like KU is going to try to finish off. Oh, looks like they managed to get that go where Ted Wardle was able to ward off that Rift Herald. Now it looks like they're going to clear out those wards and try to get some of their own in there. Really trying to press that advantage on that top mid side of the map.
King gets inside the ultimatum, did push Dr. Hodson out, means he's able to escape from the Hexagon, but King Awesome's now the one in trouble, takes another star to the backside. Tedward did Chrono Break back in, wasn't able to grab his shadow in position to hit anybody though, and that's the disengage from both teams. King Awesome almost going down in that fight. Dr. Hodson might want more there, wasn't able to land the stun once, but gets the slow and the empowered Q, slices off a big chunk of the Demon Jester.
Kept slicing away at the big blue glob. But really, the only thing that saved Kind King there was the Voice of Light knocking Dr. Hodson out of the Hextech ultimatum that then suddenly shut off the Hextech ultimatum. Otherwise, he would not have been able to flash out of that ultimate. Probably would have ended up dying the Jarvan ultimate.
Yeah, I almost didn't catch what actually stunned Kind King at the very beginning of that fight, but Tedward's going to have to flash away from the Demon Jester's stretching strike. And I think that's a pretty successful gank, able to grab the flash off Echo, but again, he's just a really hard target to lock down.
I'd say advantage does go towards FDU right now because they did get double summoners off of Kind King, and they can easily just rinse and repeat that with the Camille with how much of an advantage she's at right now. 2-0 up in CS and up in lane priority on that Gnar.
We just haven't seen the junglers get the memo yet. They're not forcing any more fights on that side. I think from Zach's position to speak, not gonna have to talk about top lane right now. Z-Flare gets chunked down to half from a good engage from Tyker, but a disengage headbutt pulverize from Wolfpack Wu means that one's over. But ACEL Mist wants more. Doesn't have the Frozen Mallet yet, so he isn't able to follow up further, but a good chunk on both sides. Dr. Hodson winning that one actually quite well. Also has the Corrupting Potion. Kind King's almost going to get stunned by the Parallel Convergence, though, just able to keep walking forward. He's going to return the stun, but doesn't have the damage to follow up. Unfortunately, still losing that trade.
Yeah, it looks like they're really just trying to pick in to see who's going to make the first mistake. You saw Rakan being able to come on in and utilize that Grand Edge to get Z-Flare knocked up, but luckily buffered that Tristana rocket jump perfectly, and we've got a fight going on back in the top lane, trading really well on the side of Dr. Hodson.
ACEL Mist just can't own this. This is the Hextech ultimatum. It doesn't block tower shots, but it doesn't matter because Hodson has plenty of damage to finish him off. Hodson, though, wasn't able to pop aggressive. That wall is just too thick. Kind King actually uses the Voice of Light to push him further away. We're going to have to come back to that fight as directed camera is forced on the bottom where Wolfpack Wu has engaged onto Tyker, but is able to battle dance himself to safety. King Awesome didn't even twitch during that engage.
Yep, we've got both junglers sitting down there. It looks like he's going to jump on in.
Yeah, Cataclysm pumps both ultimates out from the bird bot lane, but there's Zac. The Let's bounce right back into tower and a huge snare to follow up. Wolfpack Lulu goes down first, a double kill with Xayah, an immediate buster shot to force ACEL Mist out after he teleported down. Good teleport awareness, but Z-Flare is still in trouble here. Demon Jester and ACEL Mist are no doubt going to be able to finish him off. The blast cone's a little bit delayed as Z-Flare has still locked himself in with Demon Jester. There's the backup from Tedward, not able to force Zac away from the elastic slingshot though, and he's going to have to back off in shame. Wasn't able to save his AD carry.
Such incredible patience from Xayah to hold the feather collar there after she had already utilized the ult, flashed away, utilized everything she had. As soon as Zac was able to bring everyone in with the Let's Bounce, hold everyone in, secured in both those kills for KU.
And I think it was about time that we started seeing some plays bot lane. And even then, I think it's about time that we're not going to see anymore, as the first turret has been taken down already by Kutztown University. An easy teamfight win and an easy turret take. Tedward's going to try to equalize this a little bit. He's going to find Demon Jester instead, who's bounced down on top of him. Edward's slowed, not taking turret shots yet. There's one. And Demon Jester easily able to defend his turret.
Yep, and we do still have the stopwatch on both Daedalus and Demon Jester, so they can feel that they can fight a lot more aggressively, knowing that they've got that extra little bit of time.
Yeah, we haven't seen either of those being popped so far, and I think that last fight going advantageously for them. It just means the next fight's that much less likely to go well for FDU, so they're going to have to try something else here. I think Dr. Hotson not teleporting down during that last fight, perhaps he used to get back to lane, perhaps he just wasn't prepared for that one. Unfortunately, not enough for them to turn that team fight around.
Now, Dr. Hotson has completed that Triforce, so she is going to be at a very large advantage, seeing how ACEL Mist has not completed that Black Cleaver yet. But the Dragon Hat is getting ready to spawn, and it looks like KU is posturing themselves around there very easily to take it. Jarvan is not anywhere near that dragon, so the Lover's bot lane can probably finish that very quickly.
King Awesome could be looking for something here. He's still killing the ward as Tedward decides to go for the champion instead. Voice of Light forces them out to the outer limit as here comes the bot lane from Kutztown University. The flash quickness is going to charm up Tedward, forcing him to chrono break backwards, but King Awesome is still left out to dry. One more elastic slingshot's not going to land, and the EQ puts him in the face of Gnar though. But Gnar could be looking for him as Dr. Hoston's trying to pick something up on the backside. ACEL Mist picks up the first kill. Hoston's looking for one to return though. Gets another Aurelion Soul. A rampage for him, but a shutdown for the Xayah as well. A 2-for-1 for the side of Kutztown University. So once more, a victory for them. They're going to take the Rift Herald as a prize of that victory after all of that chaos.
The extended team fight still playing advantage. This Zac has been critical in both last game and this game, and just prolonging those team fights, maintaining a lot of that crowd control, and just keeping everyone in range for the carries to take on down.
I need to see this Camille do more around the map. I think there was that one gank that she attempted where she was knocked out of the Hextech Ultimatum by the Voice of Light. And the Voice of Light, although it might seem like a bit of a hard counter to Hextech Ultimatum, you know, if she can use it to juke that ultimate instead, or get close enough to the Aurelion Soul, it doesn't have as much of a range as needed to 100% prevent the ultimatum from locking Aurelion Soul in. And I just need to see that happen more often because she's got 4 kills now. She needs to be able to spread that advantage out to the rest of the team before it's too late.
Yeah, it seems like every single time that King Awesome wants to jump on in, especially on that Kind King, Demon Jester's always there, ready with that elastic slingshot to stop all the damage and all the crowd control that they bring.
It's true. Demon Jester, with 5 out of 6 kill participation, is doing such a good job being where his team needs him to be. And right now, they need to be near this dragon because they're going to almost easily secure it. It was pretty close right there. As it reset, Tedward does have Chrono Break to get back out of that one, so it was risky. But he didn't have the backup of King Awesome, for example, to actually make a serious attempt for that steal.
Just barely missed that. Was very close to finishing that off with the phase dash there. Phase dive there, and it looks like they're trying to posture around getting that second tower of the game, pushing in on this mid lane tower. Meanwhile, Kind King is going up to meet up with Dr. Hotson.
There's the Camille split push game has begun. She's not going to elect to go for the fight with Kind King. It's going to slow him and get a little bit of a heal on the way back up, but I think that's Camille just backing off after taking down the turret. One turret to actually equalize, and I think that could be the beginning of Camille putting on the carry pants that FDU needs right now. Equalizing the turret count's a good way to start.
Oh, absolutely, and she backed off because she noticed Zach had left that mid lane, and so she did not want anything to do with the 1v2. She probably could have taken down Kind King due to the fact that he had burnt his Voice of Light, so she could very easily keep him inside that Hextech ultimate and burn a lot of damage through him.
Yeah, astute observation from both you and Dr. Hodson, I suppose. Zflur's still hanging around the mid lane. Both teams hovering around mid lane right now. It's got to be a little bit of a stalemate. I think I'm going to see Camille going up towards top lane. She's going to continue split pushing because that's what that champion is made to do. No doubt. Baron is just spawned.
Yep, she is definitely going to be looking to try to do that split push. She's building very aggressively, looking like she's probably going to go for that Ravenous Hydra. Really going all offense, trying to one-shot whoever she can and not let anyone be able to duel her 1v1.
Yeah, Aurelion Soul's got a lot to say about just barely missing his Q.
Oh, absolutely. We've got very high damage in this bot lane. Xayah sitting already at those 2 items, plus the Ninja Tabi, going to be very, very hard pressed to get her killed and to avoid death from her.
Okay. Awesome. Juked out both of Demon Jester's skill shots right there, so it was well played by him, but the Rift Herald, Shelly is on the Rift. It's going to definitely going to change the tide of this fight in the mid lane. The stalemate is no more as Shelly gets the first hit, but no more than that, unfortunately, because they are 4 members strong. FDU in the mid lane, still playing together as a team, letting Camille split push and do her thing. But also you can see right there, maybe coming around for a little bit of a flank. Nar gets the memo, is also coming back down here, but King Awesome might want him to go into Tiger. Both teams playing just so hesitantly.
Yeah, very surprised that Wolfpack Wu did not utilize the headbutt or pulverize to stop the channel of the Rift Herald. It was done right in his face. He probably could have done that. Maybe he doesn't know that that mechanic is still there. You can, for those of you that are watching, when that Rift Herald is being channeled, if you CC them, they lose the Rift Herald while it's being channeled, and they no longer have it. So it's a very great tool to be able to utilize, but if you are not in the right place at the right time, then you can lose it very quickly.
So Hodson's going to redirect his attention down to bot lane with Kind King to match. It's not exactly the 1v1 matchup that I would pit up against a Camille who's 4-1, but we haven't seen him do anything crazy just because I guess they are so scared of the Zac when he's not on the map. But they're trying to establish a little bit of vision control in the enemy jungle just to allow Camille to keep pushing. She's no doubt going to be able to get that turret as there's nobody there to stop it.
Oh yeah, trying to utilize what they can on that split push. When you don't have a tower, send them to a lane where there is a tower still. So she's going to keep that pressure going there. She can split push a lot faster than that Narn would jump right
back down on an Echo, prompted King Austin to go in, but that's a lot more AoE on the side of Kutztown University. They did let's bounce 2 members back underneath the turret, but there's the teleports to follow up. Dr. Hodson arrives first. Demon Jester could be a little bit caught here. The Zanyas, or the Stasis rather, to stop himself from going down just yet. Cell Division hasn't been popped yet, no mind that. And meanwhile on the other side, Wolfpack Wu already limping away. The members of FDU are very, very low right now. The flash means that that's the end of that fight. And a flash burned away. No deaths, but blinking health bars on both sides.
So many summoners blown, and I know that Axel Mist was hesitant to throw down his teleport because he had just burned through that Meganar, so he was completely exhausted and not going to be able to contribute much beyond his presence, but his presence was enough to ward off the all-in that FDU could have brought to that fight.
Yeah, and I thought FDU was going to have to force to reset right there and give Kutztown University the position on this turret to finally take it down, but that's a lot of damage on the ACEL. Actually, it's a lot of damage on the Tadward instead. There's the stasis to block any sort of follow-up underneath her own tower, the safety of her own tower. Good kill picked up by, not Xayah, I believe it was someone else, but still very well played by Kutztown University.
Yep, little lapse there on remembering what the status was of that stopwatch, not paying attention to the fact that that she still had stopwatch available. Not smart to dive into that tower there. It looks like they're going to get their own mid tower now as the advantage there, with Tristana being very, very low, not able to defend that.
And so we've seen some inklings of how this Camille could help pull her team out from behind. Now 2,000 gold down, and every tower that this Camille has taken on the side lane, Gnar did mash that last one at least. Still down a turret despite having the stronger split push threat. It's not looking too good for that strategy at the very least. Meanwhile, the rest of the team, every time they engage on, or every time they go for a single target and engage onto them, they get wiped by Zac, who is just able to hit more targets with his CC.
Speaking of CC, we're coming right back in. Jumping in, Zac still has passive up. Neela's jumped in. The quickness has been used. Cell division is popped. Gnar has been dropped, taking down both members of that bot lane. Ekko uses his Chrono Break to come on back, and it looks like Dragon will be the reward for KU coming on in. No contest there from FDU. Bot lane was absolutely deleted from the crowd control brought in that fight.
Yeah, that is an unfortunate team fight for FDU, losing both the fight and the Infernal Dragon. And I think like it just goes to show, like, when Kutztown University goes in onto one, if they're able to land the CC, the FDU just doesn't have the same kind of retaliation that Kutztown is able to put out when you botch and engage. And I think even engaging onto one person is a little bit risky, knowing what the other team's capable of. But on the side of Kutztown University, there just isn't that fear because they don't have something like a Zac Let's Bounce or a Gnar ultimate or something like that.
No, absolutely, and with such a long range from Zac that's in there, and the lack of vision that FDU has put down, they have no idea on where that Zac is at, so they can never engage with confidence.
That is true. They need to be able to make these picks happen. They can't go for the 5-on-5 fights anymore. I think every time they do that, they fall more and more behind, and it's just really hard to make single-person picks if you don't know where the Zac is.
Oh, they're definitely falling prey to a false sense of security due to the fact that they just don't see Zac on the map, but Zac can be shooting from anywhere with that elastic slingshot, one of the longest range abilities in the game that is not a global.
Yeah, and you can see they're still trying. Like, Tyker maybe putting himself in a little bit of a dangerous position every time he walks around that corner, and Tedward's still trying to go in, and King Awesome following up immediately afterwards. But I feel like even if they had hit all of that CC and all that damage, they would have just immediately gotten squashed by a Zac. And we all know how that's been going for FDU so far. For every CC they land on one person, they take two in return. Keeping this turret alive very, very easily. I think FDU's gonna have to find another strategy. Camille was able to shove up, but she's taking blue buff right now instead, so I thought maybe perhaps she was gonna try to come around after he died.
Well, she might be looking for something. That Mega Gnar is about to be exhausted. She might look to that top lane there. It looks like we're just going to kind of be dancing around, getting back, resetting some farm, saying their hellos in the jungle, and we're back to the dance in mid lane and bot lane.
Red pings go down into the Jarvan, so try as he might, he simply cannot get the jump onto Kutztown University. And Camille, I just haven't seen this Camille any really much further than the river, at least in pushing in the side lanes, because look at both of those inner turrets on the side, they're relatively untouched. Not something I would have expected to see from a Camille who had gotten ahead so early.
Absolutely, and if they want to take advantage of the fact that this 4-1 split push and really just try to hold off the remaining members of KU, otherwise FDU is going to be looking that they're going to be digging themselves into an even bigger hole below this 3,000 gold deficit.
Yeah, the KU's playing together really, really well as a team, but unfortunately for them, that means they all left the mid lane. That mid turret's going to go down to Justana, but Dr. Hodson could be a little caught. The rest of his team here to back up. The quickness comes out to force them into it. Tedward has to back out of that fight with Chrono Break. Meanwhile, Tyker and Demon Jester are very low. ACEL actually gets the first kill onto Jarvan. Unfortunately for them, there's a huge Gnar, 3-man into the wall as well. ACEL misses on a killing spree. Dr. Hodson's the last remaining hope for his team as he goes down to the Gnar as well. A 3-for-1 for the side of Kutztown University. And unfortunately, every fight that they start just ends so terribly for them. Kind King actually fast forward, doesn't get the stun, but he gets the kill regardless on the Ted, where now Z-Flare's the only one left.
Such a close fight for FDU, but the Gnar teleporting in and going Mega just the right time and pinching everyone into that Raptor camp, landing 3 people with that Gnar. It just was too deadly. It looks like the reward will be the Baron. No chance that Tristan and Alice are going to stop this.
It's like they know what time, or it's like they know when the Gnar's teleport comes back up, and instead of playing to avoid a fight when it comes back up, it's like, oh, Gnar's teleport's come back up, time to start a fight, and then he immediately teleports in, and even 30 seconds before that fight began, Gnar was still ticking down. Like we talked about before, I think just before that fight, when Camille was making her way back up from bottom lane, Gnar was down bottom with his rage bar already ticking down back. To end the transformation, his teleport wasn't back up. That's when you have to go all in in a fight like that, and once that teleport's back up and Gnar's rage is completely bailed back up, like it's the exact opposite of what FDU needed in the beginning of that fight.
Oh, absolutely. You just try to keep track of the Gnar in the rage bar, but now they do have one thing going for them, even though they do not have the Baron. They do have that extra teleport from the Camille that they can use to actually do that full split push and make it a 5v4 fight if they so choose.
Yeah, but you have to consider, Baron taking 3 minutes to tick down, that removes so much of that window already. I need to see this Camille do more. I need to see this Camille operate in something other than a 5v5 fight, because she's no doubt powerful, but this could be it. The 1v1 on the split pushing Gnar. Oh, almost not able to get that last chunk up.
That Tristana jumping on in. Gnar is blown, but it might be a little bit too late here.
Yeah, he didn't get a stun. He's gonna donate that kill over to Tristana, but they give over an inner turret in exchange. Not so sure about the worth of that one. Looking to tilt more back onto looking to push more into the middle one. Baron buff is nowhere near expired yet, and Tedra doesn't really have the wave clear to finish this one off. Regardless, Kutztown gonna back off, no doubt pursuing the dragon instead.
And they've got plenty of vision throughout FDU's jungle where they can just secure this Mountain Drake. Unless we get to see a fight here.
Tedward looking for a hero play on the backside. Buster Shot's going to force Demon Jester closer to the exit where he needs to go anyway to try to secure this dragon.
Yep, we're back to the dance. However, the dance is currently going to be a 5v4. This might be the time that Dr. Hotzen wants to jump on in. The Hextech Ultimatum is almost off cooldown.
And my mistake,
Gnar is coming from base here, so they've got to take advantage of their time now, or they're going to lose this opportunity.
Yeah, this window, instead, Hotzen sees it as an opportunity to go in. Kind King, nice juke on the Voice of Light, but finds himself in the middle of 4 instead. The charm and the knockup actually pushes him backwards to safety, and Hotzen gets a nice shield from his support, is able to limp out of that one alive. But again, that dragon's still alive. Remember, they're fighting for control of the dragon area. Wolfpack of Wolves gonna get slowed by the redemption as well. It means he's not going to survive despite the unbreakable will. And now Iceless, unstoppable, rallies his team back towards dragon. And I think either way, once Camille had overcommitted in that fight, it was over for FDU.
Absolutely. Very greedy from the side of Dr. Hotzen, really trying to push for that kill, knowing that the rest of that team had to be in that area due to all and the dragon pressure that was there just moments before that.
Yeah, they thought that was the window that they needed. You were talking about how Gnar had gone back to base. And I suppose if he had landed the stun, then it could have been something, but, Kutztown University, so aware of his tricks, like 4 of them popping out of the woodwork immediately after that. It was like, that was quite alarming even for me. I was like, whoa, where did they come from? But they're exactly on the same page, exactly where they need to be. We were talking earlier about Zach, how Zach always seems to be exactly where his team needs him. It really spreads over the entire team. They're playing together as a group very, very well, and it's shown across both of these games so far.
Yep, and it's just, unfortunately for FDU, Aurelion Sol is not necessarily built as just a purely burst mage. You see the Leandri's Torment, you see the Protobelt and the Rylai's. This guy has a lot of HP that you still have to burn through. You cannot 100-0 him like he's an assassin.
Yeah, Aurelion's still a little bit strange. His build is pretty much, if it has AP and HP, then put it in the cart. But here's another engage now. This time, Maximus is truly alone. You can see Tyker trying to make his way down there. He's very tanky though, uses the Cataclysm Wall as his back post for Gnar. It's going to give him a little bit more of a chance here. Finds himself at the edge of the Hextech Ultimatum instead. There's the quickness. Tyker has caught up. Not enough to save Axelmus though, and Tyker could regret this decision now as he gets stunned up by Hotson. The flash has been forced out. Meanwhile on the bottom side, the 1v1 to try to stop the split push from Morelli and Soul. Demon Gesture's down to half, but so is King of Awesome. Or King Awesome has to get forced out. The callback from the Xayah Feathers is enough to finish him off, and a double kill for Xayah. Now 7-0. Very well played from him so far. Tedward uses the Chrono Break, just a little bit extra damage on the Kind King, and Kind King's going to be the return kill for the side of FDU.
2 for 2 right now with no other objectives on the field. Let's see who's going to take advantage of this. Top tower is very low for FDU, and they do have the duo lane from KU up there to push it, but they don't have the wave yet. We're going to have to see what happens here. Good plays from both sides on both those other lanes. They will finish off that tower. It was low enough to be able to tank that damage up. We're going to see what they continue to do here. Sweeping out the jungle now. Really trying to dig on in. They do have a 6,000 gold lead and 8 kills and 2 dragons up on FDU. So definitely a very good, healthy advantage from the likes of Kutztown University.
Yeah, and that 6,000 gold lead is despite CS leads in both the top lane and AD carry positions for FDU. And we just, again, when it comes to the teamfight situations, those advantages just literally disappear because they don't have the counter engage, or they don't have the CC in order to make those fights go anymore in their favors. When you're getting smacked around by a Gnar and a Zac, it's really, really hard to make any sort of item advantage happen for you.
Yeah, and if you look at just how the way that these teams are playing, KU is playing pretty much always together. You can always find multiple people by each other whenever you try to pick that fight. And it looks like the Aurelion Soul is going to try to come on in to help on out with the Gnar.
Yeah, Hotson's running way back. He's way in front of the enemies, and his team is on the way, but he still gets stunned by the Gnar. The chain CC comes down. There's the GLP 800 just for a little bit of extra slope, but the hookshot is enough to push him to safety. He's going to come back in with the tactical sweep. Almost takes a zap to the face, and Tedward is already forced out with Chrono Break, means that they're probably not going to be able to fight this, as Axelmus is still wailing away with the boomerangs. There's the Let's Bounce to pick off one, a legendary kill for Iciolus. And they're going to be very, very happy with that one. And that honestly could have been so much more disastrous for FDU.
Oh, absolutely. They managed to really sneak their way on out. They're only losing their support in Wolfpack-a-Woo, but man, they're just getting further and further behind, trying to take some of these risky fights, but they've just got so much mobility with the likes of the Zac, Gnar, and Aurelion Soul to really get anywhere on the map that they want to. And it looks like they're going to go back to posturing around that Baron, clearing out vision, and getting ready to take that second Baron of the game.
Yeah, I don't see any efforts to contest this Baron going very well for FDU at all. They're still down a man, 7 seconds before he comes back up. There's the scrying plant to try to catch vision of their impending doom, and the parallel convergence is going to go way wide as the Baron recalls come out.
Absolutely melted. 5 items sitting on that Xayah right there. Does tons of damage, plus the Rakan. Whenever you turn on that W, he launches the feathers as well. Whenever you and him both auto attack, so a lot of damage brought out by them.
Still looking at ice. Go ahead, sorry.
Absolutely deleted that Baron, and now it's a matter of how they really want to go about that. You've got the Xayah sitting on 8-0-5 and Zac 1-0-13. Such high kill participation from the AD carry, jungle, and support here. And those right now have been the X factor so far in this game. So it's going to be a matter of, can they push things out? That is the one disadvantage that they have, is they do not have a ton of wave clear and a ton of sieging potential versus that Tristana and Echo.
I keep looking at Iciolus' name, trying to figure out if there's some other way that I'm supposed to be pronouncing it, because he has been such a power player in this game, completely unkilled, and with so many of his team's kills on himself as the AD carry. He's doing a masterful job of turning around really every single engagement that FDU is able to put out. Tedward's not even going to be able to grab the large raptor as a prize there. Hotson takes a third, about 1,000 HP already just from those 3 or 4 auto attacks from Xayah.
Oh yeah, and they're posturing around. Elder Dragon has spawned. This would become the power of 4 Mountain Dragons and 2 Infernals if they come in, but it looks like they're jumping on in for that fight. Who are they going to get today?
Oh, Tedward's already so low, means Chrono Break's not going to put him in any sort of good position, has to use a flash as well. Voice of Light's good for the slow at least, and that's going to force, Wolfpack Wu to have to push back the rest of the team, and a Buster Shot forces back even more. So a good disengage that's going to give Elder Dragon right over to them.
Yeah, a great disengage from FDU, but it looks like that's just going to result in the Elder Dragon to Kutztown University, unless we see a steal here from the Jarvan. No steal, and Echo takes his own life, trying to secure that, knowing that the Chrono Break and the Phase Dive is not available.
Oh, I think that's the third time I've seen Echo come in and try to Chrono Break out, but remember, he did use the Chrono Break in the last fight, and Jarvan, the jungler, just never followed up with you're trying to get himself a position with the Smite. I think with the combined power of the Echo and Jarvan, it might give him a chance, but King Awesome, always more hesitant than his mid laner to try to go for a cheeky steal. And that time, I think that might be the nail in the coffin.
Yep, they definitely have pressured in on that mid lane, looking to rotate down to that bottom lane. Baron's still up for another minute to minute and a half here, as well as that Elder Dragon. Really pressing this power play here, pushing past the tower, doing Proxy Gnar, whole new next level meta here. Forget Proxy Singe, you got Proxy Gnar coming on in here.
Proxy Gnar and 4v5 team fight. That's a good meta for KU. ACEL slays Zifa. The bot lane has been deleted. Absolutely PogChamp stomped into the ground. Toadson regrets going in to try to save his bot lane posthumously. Meanwhile, that's a dead Tedward as well. Wasn't even able to Chrono Break that time. A little bit of Jensen syndrome as he was CC locked into the ground. And that's the inhibitor, the last prize. 2 inhibitors down already for them. Remember, they have the Elder Dragon still so far. This 2v5 is not going to go well for FDU.
No, and they are looking to finish off this game fully, just utilizing everything they've got. The Baron and the Elder Dragon have just worn off, but it's going to be too little, too late. They do not have the damage. They do not have the numbers. It's going to be all KU all day, finishing off this series 2-0. Everyone is dead. They aced the team. They're rocking the teleports just for fun. GG's, dabs, and thumbs up all around. KU takes the series 2-0.
Well played by the Kutztown University Golden Bears.